Hair salon management system written in Vue.js and MUMPS. The name of the product is Vue Salon. It's not a real product, but it's intended to be used as any other hair salon system would be used. It's actually being used in one salon currently, and this is a live version of it just to demonstrate some key points. The backend is written in MUMPS, the front end is written in Vue.js, and is currently running in Neola.db. I want to first showcase the power of MUMPS and Neola.db. Basically, I had some ideas that I doubt I think it would take me a lot longer to write in the other language than MUMPS. And I have some front end, obviously, some back end theories I wanted to test. In the front end, I would show some design concepts and theories, and the front end communicates entirely to the back end through an API, through a JSON API, where it provides complete separation between the two. The backend material in MUMPS is geared towards MUMPS developers, specifically MUMPS developers with little to no front-end experience. Like I said, the audience is experienced MUMPS programmers with little to front-end experience. The main theory behind this: can I write a backend and a front-end framework that allows me complete control of the front end through the backend. So the idea is you have a product that is written by some front-end and back-end developers, and then have the backend developers be familiar with the framework and be able to contribute to the front end as well through the back end. Now I'm going to jump in. First, I'm going to do a demo of the front end, how it will work. And as I go through, I'm going to talk about some theories I had through the back end, and then I'm going to go through over the code. So the product's called Vue here. The idea is that can I use UNLDB as a way to write a complete product, allowing for sign up of clients, complete automated interaction, like any other mainstream language out there. So I'm going to start by signing up. The profile name is very important, and you'll see why later. The email, let's do 1234@email.com. 1234@email.com, and the password. And again, the idea is that this product would be available online and have people sign up to it. It's not a real product, but it's designed as if it's real. And like I said, it's currently used in one hair salon. I'm gonna sign up, and let's log in. 1234@email.com. 1234567 is the password. Let's log in. As soon as you log in, basically this is a live version. A lot of other features have been taken out just so the demo is not too lengthy and you will still get the point across. Basically, we have a calendar component, and we have all the other tables that support the calendar components. I'm going to start with the client list. As you can see, we have no client list. One of the theories I wanted to test was if I add animation to my front end throughout using Vue.js, would that make the website a little bit more alive? Honestly, this one theory I'm not so sure about. I'm not sure if the animations are they irritating, if they're obnoxious or not. I'd like some feedback on that. So I'm adding a new client. Now, everything that you see here is coming from the front end, including the fields, the tables, and the interactions. Interactions like if I change the male, change the picture that corresponds to the gender. So let me start with the first name. Let's do Steven Smith, phone number. Again, we need all these details to be able to use the calendar. Send their birth date and some notes. And let's upload a picture as well. Let's add some staff. Staff will basically be the staff that you're booking the appointments for. Let's add a picture. Obviously, all of these are fake pictures. Let's add Sandra as our staff member. Her title is stylist. Her email is sandra@email.com. And she makes commission at 50%. And let's choose our colors for her appointments. Let's do one red. The front end is written in a framework called Quasar. It's a Vue.js framework. And the idea is that let's do no one red. Let's try saving it. Let's add another staff member. Add another picture. Let's put Barbara. Stylist. Email p@email.com. And let's say she makes 40% commission. Now, the version that's running in the hair salon does all the reporting, the commissions, based on the commissions, basically everything a hair salon that needs, including online booking, all the fancy bells and whistles. And here, let's choose different colors for the gradients. Let's do green, and let's do yellow, for example. Now let's add some services. Again, services is the services you're booking the appointment for. Basically, the idea is that a client comes into a salon, or a client calls a salon or books online. You have to have the client name, the staff member that is being booked for, the service that is being booked for, the category of the service, the location, and whether there's discounts or not. So you'll see that I have extra here. So the idea is that one service, let's say with service name haircut, description haircut. And you'll notice one of the theories I had was when you fill out these tables, let's say I haven't filled out the category table yet, but I don't want that my end user to go to each table to fill it out separately. Why not be able to, if I have no entry, why not be able to fill it on the spot? So this is also being controlled completely from MUMPS. And as you will see later. So I'll do haircuts, and let's upload the photo. Now our service, the haircut has two options. Let's say the first option is short haircuts. Skips and short. And let's add a picture. Price, let's say $60 and a discount at $50. And the duration is, let's say it's 60 minutes. Let's add another one. Again, you see the interaction also coming straight from MUMPS. Medium. Medium haircut. Medium, and let's say the medium is a little bit more expensive, let's say 75, and discounted at 60, and it lasts for, let's say, another hour. Let's save this one. Let's add a picture for this one as well. Let's save this. Oops. This is meant to be the duration between after each service. And I left this on purpose. You see there's a typo here. Service 1 duration of minutes, service 1 duration of minutes. Let's say this is a bug in the software. Now, a MUMPS developer with no backend experience can easily modify this from the backend to have it say what it should, which is the lag between each service. So how much time to take between each service? Let's say it takes 15 minutes. Let's say 15 minutes here as well. We add our haircut. Let's go to the category. You'll see we already have our haircut category that we added from before. And location, let's add the location. Paramus 123 Main Street. Paramus, Jersey 12345. And phone number and the tax to apply, and let's say 7% tax. Let's add a picture to our location. Let's say our location is categorized by this picture. Obviously, whatever picture you want. Now, the last thing we need to add is the status. So let's say we add our booked status. Now, obviously, there's multiple statuses they can choose from. And for our booked, we're going to choose green as the color of our status. And again, that's a gradient color. That's one of the things I wanted to test. Instead of using straight colors, what if I use gradients to color the software to give it a little bit more dimension? I hit save. Now let's go to the calendar. If I go to the calendar, I have my two stylists, Sandra and Barbara. As you can see, it's grayed out. I need to be able to mark this as a working day for Sandra. I can do it straight from here at working hours for Sandra, or I can go to staff under staff working hours and add it from here. One thing to note that even these links are coming straight from MUMPS, where you can add a module and edit a module. Each module corresponds to one routine, so it's going to easily be extended and modified. So I'm going to go back to my calendar and let's add working hours for Sandra. Add working hours for Sandra. You see the color changed. We'll add working hours for Barbara. Now, one thing you might notice is this is not designed for a single hair salon. This is designed for any hair salon to sign up for it automatically. So a cool trick I did with UWDB is having each salon be its own global. So every single data that we entered so far, including appointments, are saved under one global. And let's write it later. So let's add our first appointment. Let's say book an appointment for Sandra. We have our location selected. We have our client selected. Now, automatically it selects these fields, selects if it has one entry. Normally, you get to pick and choose if you have more than one. And we can even, if we don't have a client, if it's a walk-in, for example, let's see if you can add Emily. See, automatically lets you add a new one on the spot, which is a theory I also like. So let's do Emily B, for example. 1, 2, 3, 4. Birthday. And let's see, and automatically she selects Emily B as our. Now let's add very important client as our note. The stylist is Sandra, and it's a haircut. You'll see the options. We have a short haircut and we have a medium haircut. Well, same as we added before. The processing is 50 minutes and the duration is 60 minutes coming from there. And discount, so let's add a discount, $1 off, amount of $1. We hit save. You see we have the description, we have the grand total, discount, subtotal, tax, and total. I'm going to book the appointment. And the booked appointment. And see, it looks really nice because it's a gradient, not straight color. Let's add another appointment for Barbara. As you can see now, the client is not also selected, obviously, because I have two clients. So let's choose Stephen Smith. And let's choose the service. We'll choose medium haircut this time. And let's say we want to extend this a little bit, 90 minutes. And let's say we want to add another service. And in this case, let's do short haircut. And apply $1 off as well here. Automatically you see 87, we have $1, we have 86. We book appointments, and we have our appointments booked for Barbara. We can resize the appointments. We can move the appointments. The appointment we can basically what you expect from a full working calendar. You can view the weekly appointments. You can view the monthly. Stylus combined or stylus is expanded. Working stylus or select the stylus that you'd like to see, and compressing or expanding the views. We'll go back to daily. And in a nutshell, this is just a very quick overview of this system. Obviously, I took out a lot of features, a lot of things that are not necessary for this demo, but you get the idea. Now let's jump into the code. Before we jump into the code, though, let's discuss how this communicates back to your DBs and MUMPS. So the idea is that the framework basically allows you to associate each function with a routine or routine call. So if I look at my debug console, you'll see that each interaction has a routine call. Let's say get resources of calendar, the data that it sends over as a JSON, and a response. This makes debugging a lot easier because if something breaks, you can right away see which function it broke at. In this case, it would be get resources if it broke at get resources. See our resources, all of this is coming from MUMPS as we'll see in a little. And these are a history of all the calls that we've done so far. Get events, get resources, some stuff broke, it's okay. Get lists, get model data of FZNew. FUZ is the name of the framework that ties in the interactions between the front end and the back end. Now let's jump into the code. I'm gonna put this over here, and I'm gonna put our MUMPS code over here. This UNDB instance is running on Ubuntu as a VM, and I have code server running on it, and I'm basically just connecting the code server. Now let's look at our clients. Before we look at the clients, let's just discuss how these modules are built. You'll see that I have my Salon Routine, which basically controls the main routing of the web server. The web server, let's go to web server, is running also weekly MUMPS, and this web server was taken from the Vista web server, and it's heavily modified. It can even do video streaming, which I'm gonna do another demo. It basically is a web server and the JSON decoding, which is the heart of the communication between the two apps. The Salon routine is basically a general routine that controls, like I said down. You'll see that in the Salon routine, each module calls its own routes. So for example, if I want to remove the discounts, I can comment the routes from discounts, and let's say we link our Salon routine. And if I log off and log back on, basically the idea is that at log on, you send all the metadata required to run the software. And we'll log in. And as you see, now we have no discount table. Basically, all the routing for discount table disappeared. Let's put this back in. And as you can see, there was other modules that I had to comment out just because they're not necessary for this demo. Let's take a look at the client's routine. I mean to do that. Let's go to clients. Actually, let's go this way. So as you can see, of course, you look, the client routine is just a bunch of metadata that is defined through the framework. Let's take a look. First, you have the routes, which is called from the Salon routine, the main routine, log in and at client login, Salon login, we have our label, we have the client list, which is corresponds to this value, we have the routes, and we have basically the other client, the new client. So everything that's to do with clients is in a module under the client's routine. We have the pages defined that defines the clients. Now, I'm very aware that this can be abstracted furthermore into functions, but because this is a framework, I want to keep this as a way to document the framework itself and not make it abstracted too much. But it can be further abstracted since there's some repetition in each route. Some cool ideas I took from Vue.js is some hooks. So after model save, a model is basically the model, the global structure under which the clients will get built, and that's also defined in the routine. You'll see under module. You'll see I'm defining it as a number, the name, the first name. This is the image. This is the active, non-active. Let's go to add new client to see what we're talking about. Name, first name, the allow text message, the client photo, and let's do something cool. Let's, for example, just to show the concept, let's say first name, we'll change the label to, let's say we have a requirement to uppercase name, first name, let's say to make it more obvious for them. I'm gonna save this, Z-link it, and let's log off. Again, each modification is to be log in and log off just for the purpose of performance. So obviously I'm not sending all this metadata over and over again. I'm just sending it once. And let's go back to our client. Oops, I signed up, I logged in as a stylist and did not meet. You see, depending on your stylist or salon, you can log in. So let's do 1234 at email.com, 12345678, sign up, log in as a salon, and submit. Let's go, we're gonna go to our clients list. And let's go to add new client, and we'll see first name for client demo is the label that we just changed. So this entire block corresponds to this field, and this field has a corresponding global entry that's automatically created for you. Phone number. You'll notice that we have the onChange event linking up a MUMPS function, as opposed to being linked from JavaScript itself. So onChange, for example, duplicate phone. Let's check our phone numbers. Let's go to client list. We'll edit. This phone number is 1 through 10. Now let's try adding a new client, and that client happens to have the same phone number. You'll see automatically it tells me client already exists of the existing phone number with a client ID 1. So automatically it brings up the client, the first client, and this is done through this function. And if we take a look at this function, you'll see all it does is basically cycles the model. It takes the model phone, it reads the phone index number to get to check if the phone number already exists, and even the box that shows the warning comes straight from MUMPS. This is through the framework itself. So this basically issued the warning client already exists with the specific ID, and fill the model with the new data coming from the existing client, and change the title to ID -client, which corresponds to over here. Now, fill model itself can be overridden. So basically, just like you have in Vue, you can override methods inside the routine itself. Now, the cool thing is, that's one of the concepts. Because I knew this product will have a lot of tables, I didn't want to do this for each single table. So I did a framework lets me build everything I need for this module. And I can even define the indices that are required for this table. And as you guys can see, if I take a look at my table, not table, my global, uh, which in this case I think is called demo that we entered. This is the name of the profile that we entered there. Everything is saved under that global. You'll see we have our categories, clients, discounts, events, locations, blogs, services, sessions, staff, and customizations. Let's take a look at our clients and save everything saved under client data. So you'll see we have the active allow. Basically, each field corresponds to one of these models, and that's how it gets saved. You have the model ID corresponds to the ID here field here. So it gives consistency to the app across the board. Obviously the framework is not that big, but it allows for someone that has no front-end experience to just learn it rather than learning Vue.js, JavaScript, CSS, and be able to interact with the front end. Obviously not to the full extent, but just to be productive at least, since all interactions are done through the front end. So one of these interactions, for example, if you go to our services list, so I want to be able to add more services. So even this interaction is controlled by the backend. So this will obviously correspond, if you guys are paying attention, to the services routine. And this basically is under the fill model function. The fill model function is a function that is coming from is is implemented in the framework, and this is a way to override the function. So basically, it just calls the original fill model and calls this fill model. Actually, I'm sorry. If the fill model exists in the module, it doesn't call the original fill model. It calls the fill model from the module itself. So normally, another module would contain this fill model. And this here, basically, we take the index, we create a new model based on the index for this interaction, and even the body is added. So basically, everything you see, every interaction is saved, is coming from here. Also, the pictures are being saved in the global as base64, so you won't have to deal with uploading, downloading pictures. Automatically gets saved as base64. Same idea with basically the other modules and the interactions. I don't want to go into too much detail, but basically this is the main concept: is writing a framework that I can use to build my front end through the back end. And each module doesn't have to be so extensive. I have my events module, for example. It's basically just the model and nothing else, just some fields and nothing else. So each model has basically, each module is designed separately, and each module has different interactions. A way for me to document the framework, and by no means does this framework mean like it can be used for other projects. This was created for this project, that is to make a framework per project before you jump in the project itself. And everything that has to do with the interactions of these tables is coming from the FUZ new and FUZ list routines. So you see FUZ new has the fill model, which if it exists in the routine itself will be overridden. You have the get model, save model, get model data, get sample model data, and save model data. You see at save, everything is done for you, including the indices, killing the new indices, updating indices, things like that. We have hooks like on before model save. So if this is in the model itself, call it before you attempt to save. A way of providing hooks similar to the view hooks. on before save, on after save, things like that. It's not so big. That's why I want to showcase the power of MUMPS. This is a theory I had, and basically this is the heart of the theory, the routine that controls everything. And as you can see, it's only implemented in 250 lines. I doubt this can be done in any other language. Uh, Basically, you'll see that this covers about 90% of my routines. We have the calendar routine, which is a little different because this is not controlled by the backend, obviously, because it has no purpose to it. Calendar, you have interactions controlled from the calendar. You have get appointments, get events, get resources, basically corresponding to functions that are coming from the front end. So each interaction calls a specific function, get resources, which is corresponds to this one in this case. This goes through the resources, figures out the working hours, non-working hours, etc., and sets the results of the resources. You'll see that to send data across. So basically the way the framework works is instead of encoding decoding JSON in every function call, you basically write it in uh, a global, and this global will have the resources at the module, and this corresponds basically to the data coming from here under resources. So this will correspond to that, and this is basically how the JSON parser works. It makes it easier to write the functions. So no decoding, no encoding. Data that comes in directly through O, and I mean the result is coming from the O stands for out, and D stands for data, which is the JSON coming in. So data that gets sent from the front end will be stored under the data. So I have data fetch info end, for example, corresponding fetch info end. I think that gives these routines are not part of the module of the app. These routines are basically provides is responsible for this other app, which I might cover later. But basically, it's a way to view data globals through a terminal. So I hope this gives a quick overview of the products. And if you have any questions, please let me know.